Hey guys, what's going on? It's Joe DI, Director of Training for Spartan Race. I'm here with Bailey on the Conquer podcast, talking about building better humans and the Spartan Way.
Alright guys, it's Bailey here, aka The Beard, and I'm on it, I'm excited, I'm pumped for our first edition of Conquer, the podcast. I'm here with the man, the guy, Joe DI, as you guys would know him, one of the big guns out of Spartan, US, coach, or head coach of the Spartan Pro team, creator of the Spartan Combine there with some guys, and you know man, how's it been, how's Australia?
Life is good, man. I got here about 10 days ago. I've taught two-day courses and run a beast, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how'd you find our beast in comparison?
I mean, it was great. It was, I was surprised. There was a lot of obstacles that I've never seen before. You guys have, you know, the fortress, right? The dead ball. I'm used to a bucket. So you guys got me a couple times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, we've been out here, you know, we've been pumped. We've been on to spend some time with you the last 2 days and getting our learnings, our scoops, as we call them, in Spartan SGX. And obviously we're chatting here, we're talking about that Spartan Way. What do you think, from everything that you've learned from your athletes and everything you've seen, what is the Spartan Way?
I mean, the Spartan Way, there's so many kind of facets to it, right? But I'd say that the number one thing is, practicing what you preach. It's learning to delay gratification, right? It's learning to kind of live in the moment,
yeah,
right? And give things your all, whether it's training, racing, eating, going to bed early, or whatever, right? It's taking your attitude that you take to racing and taking it to everything else in life, so that your entire life fosters it's all pushing in the right direction,
yeah,
right? Because so many folks, they train hard and then they don't eat right, or they don't go to bed on time, or they don't take care of their body, or they don't have their mind in the right place,
yeah,
right? And until all your decisions and all your actions are all pushing towards the same initiative, the same purpose, things can go awry. So I would say that the Spartan Way, the Spartan mindset, the Spartan attitude is just having a consistent attitude towards everything in life.
Perfect.
And I guess that's it.
Comes down to that Spartan philosophy and those pillars that we're talking about for the last few days. And if there's guys, most of the time we see they'll do a Spartan race for the first time, or there's probably a ton of people out there that have sat there and thought about it. But what would you say in terms of the Spartan Way, what's one thing that they could do which would change everything?
Who? Just the folks that are on the couch?
Maybe they're on the couch and maybe they're not doing it, but there's just that tiny little bit inside that goes, I want to do more, but I'm scared, or I want to do more, I just don't know how. What would be one thing that they could do?
The biggest thing, man, is just don't. So many people, I use the example. Like, I can walk down the street with my 5-year-old niece, and she's this tall, and she's going to try to jump a 10-foot puddle. Why? Because what the heck? Why not? Yeah, she's only going to make it 1 foot, 2 feet into this massive puddle. What's the worst that can happen? She gets a little wet. She doesn't care what they think. She's just going to go for this because there's no negative outcome. She sees no possibility of anything bad coming from giving it a shot.
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, right, we feel like, if we're on the couch or we're in this comfort zone, right? We don't know how to escape it. And the longer we stay in that comfort zone, the smaller it gets, the tighter it gets, right? So the best thing people can do is when their brain says, what if I did this? Or I'm considering taking the stairs and then I go over to the lift, the elevator, right? It's just do what your brain quickly thinks that you quickly don't do,
yeah,
right? It's you pull into the garage, right? You pull into the garage at midnight. You've had a long day, you've had a long drive, a stressful work, and you have something in the back of your car you have to bring up to your house, right? This happens to me. It's the best example I have. You live on the 3rd floor. That moment when you decide to not wait till tomorrow to bring that thing up to the 3rd floor,
Yeah.
when you say, shit, I'm tired, so I don't know if I can swear.
Yeah.
I'm tired, I'm beat, I've had a long day, I could just as easy do that tomorrow. Do it today. That's probably the one thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's the thing that you think about putting off, or the thing that you think about not doing. Just do it. Empower yourself. What's the worst that can happen?
That's it. Like, get up out of bed, go for the run before the brain decides and works out what you're doing, you know?
Exactly. And if I can kind of piggyback that, the other thing is people think that whether it's exercise or a run or a workout, that it has to be this miserable experience. And I think that people think that if they're not completely demolished, sweaty, and sore, then it wasn't a workout and it wasn't worth it. When to me, it's the habit that's the most important thing, right? So if somebody is struggling, they're not into the race, they think of exercise as this, painful, sacrificial, bizarre ritual. Go outside, and I don't care if you walk for 5 minutes, make it a habit.
Yeah.
Walk for 5 minutes, because you know what? You left your house, you went outside, you got on your feet. Who cares how long you stayed that way?
Yeah.
That's gonna build over time. And you did 5 minutes today, you do 10 minutes tomorrow, 15 minutes the next day, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 35, right?
Just building those habits.
Build it. Start as low as you need to start so that it's laughable.
Yeah.
Can you walk for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask? It's laughable.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's going to evolve into 5 hours. You don't have to start at 5 hours to make it worth your while.
Absolutely. So we've been learning about burpee immunity and like obstacle immunity, and what's this obsession with burpees? Like, where did it start, and why do you think everyone should be doing burpees?
Well, it's funny because obviously I'm a descendant, I'm a disciple of Joe DeSena, right? And Joe's thing with the burpee is it's the ultimate human exercise, right? It's an exercise that he uses it in terms of, he used to have a swimming pool business. And if you watch his TED Talk, he talks about this. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm gonna completely butcher this, but he tells a story about how when you clean a pool, you're actually only cleaning about the top 6 inches of water.
Yeah.
Right? The rest of the water doesn't really get clean. Right? And that top cleaning the skim coat, that's doing push-ups.
Yeah.
That's doing squats. Doing a burpee, man, it's like stirring something with a spoon or putting it in the blender.
Yeah.
Right? The burpee is gonna mess the entire body up. You're gonna hit your upper body, lower body, your core, your explosiveness, your aerobic capacity. You do 5 minutes of burpees, that's an aerobic effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you do 10 seconds of burpees, that's an explosive effort.
Yeah.
So it's an exercise that shakes the whole body up, gets the whole body moving, getting up, getting down. There's actually, the faster you can get up off the ground to standing, there's actually a correlation between that and longevity.
Yeah.
So in terms of an exercise for a human being, an exercise that gets them down and up is actually one of the best ways to increase longevity.
Yeah.
Because not being able to get up is how a lot of people end up dying.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's kind of an interesting piece too. But
Yeah.
ultimately, when you talk about an exercise, it's going to hit basically every major muscle and your heart.
Yeah.
Move over push-ups, right?
It's funny because when we're doing our 5 minutes of push-ups, 5 minutes of burpees, you feel like you're gonna die, and it's pretty tough. But at the end, you feel like you achieve something, and it's interesting to know that the more you can do that, it's going to build that longevity, and it's going to decrease that ability. By the time that clock comes ticking for you.
No doubt. And that 5 minute burpee test, and actually there was and I'm going to mess this one up too, but in the 40s, the original guy, Dr. Burpee, right? He created the burpee test as a test of aerobic capacity.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, he had a chart. You can do this many burpees in 5 minutes. This is your approximate VO2 max.
Yeah.
You can do this many, right? So the foundations, the beginnings of the burpee was a 5 minute burpee test, just like we do.
Yeah.
We do a push-up. He actually didn't do the push-up. He would do what we call a squat thrust.
Yeah.
But the burpee has its beginnings, and 5 minutes is interesting because, as we've talked about, if we do less, we're not using all 3 of our major energy systems.
Yeah.
When we do 5 minutes, we're going through all 3 major energy systems. So if you think about a run, right? A run, we have to warm up for what? 5 minutes,
Yeah.
because it takes 5 minutes to get your aerobic engine going, right?
Sure.
So a 5 minute test, if it was any shorter, you wouldn't get into that energy system.
Yeah.
Right? So from a fitness perspective, the 5 minute test is giving you a full fitness profile, but it's also very miserable.
Yeah.
And so it's more miserable than 30 burpees. It's more miserable than running a little bit faster than you should. It's more, so all of a sudden your frame of reference of what miserable is after 5 minutes of burpees has been adjusted.
Gets you out of that comfort zone, and then it's that mental stamina coming in there again. Yeah,
all of a sudden that jog at 5 a.m. fasted isn't so bad, because I did 5 minutes of burpees yesterday.
Yeah, that bill that you couldn't pay, it's like, it's just a bill, 5 minutes of burpees, you do it, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, hey.
You know, like, I've been hacking you every single minute that I can about this Spartan protein. I'm obsessed, but you know, I just love the, you know, success leaves traits, and you've dealt with a lot of those guys at the top of their game, and a lot of the guys and girls and ladies that have come through the ranks that maybe want that, but you've probably seen a lot of traits that they've had. What would you say is the number one thing across the board that's got pretty much most of these guys along the line in the pros, or getting into a goal or a successful business?
Yeah, man, and I guess it's a pretty simple answer. This is not rocket science. And every time I take on a new athlete or am exposed to some other athlete that I've never met before, I'm chronically impressed by just work ethic, willingness. Somebody that is just not only willing to put in the time and put in the effort, but truly give 100%. Give 100% that I didn't realize existed, right? What they put in, I would have expected was 120%, and that happens all the time. So these people are harder on themselves than anyone else could ever be on them.
Yeah.
Right? They expect more from themselves than any person could ever expect from them.
Yeah.
And I think if I had to say a trait, that's probably it.
No excuses, no complaints.
No excuses, no complaints. And a lot of them in our sport, this is a sport that, you know, you're not pampered, right? A lot of them, I have to pull back, because they'll run with a demolished foot. They'll run with a destroyed back.
They're like, you're not stopping me from this race, I'm going to do it.
And so I think the biggest thing, this sport, the mindset, the attitudes, the ethic that it attracts, it's got its pros and cons.
It's next level. It's crazy. We're obsessed.
It's next level. And so I think our high-end athletes, because of that, we need to harness that.
Yeah.
And we need to capitalize on it. But on the same time, we got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
Because as we're working and seeing more of these athletes, it's a sport that you could conceivably race 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that this year, a lot of pros that have been in the ranks for 3 years started to feel that.
Yeah.
You can get away with it for a while. But if you want to make a career out of this sport, you have to learn how to balance your training and your racing, and decide on the races you're going to race, and decide which races you're not going to race in, or which races you're not going to give 100%.
Yep.
Because if you're a ex-athlete and that race is more of a Y race, like, why destroy yourself? Because you've got 3 X races in the next couple of months that you can really put all your eggs into those baskets. So I think that has been a struggle because of a lot of our athletes' mindset that it's just go, which is a good problem to have. I would so much rather have that problem than, come on, man, like,
come on, Bob,
you got it, you got it. So it's long-winded, but
you know, that's awesome. You know, no excuses, no complaints, and no matter what happens, it doesn't matter if their leg's hurting, doesn't matter if their shoulder's gone, they'll just keep going until somebody says you've crossed the finish line. And then when they get that, they'll do 30 burpees and then they'll finish at the end, and you can't beat that.
No.
You know, and it's interesting to see. It doesn't matter whether we are in the US or it doesn't matter we're here in Australia. That's one of the things that OCR's got that I haven't seen anywhere else. You know, not only can you go into it and you've got this amazing mentality, but then you're doing it and you're kind of chipping away, grinding, and then somebody's behind you going, come on, man, you can do it, you can do it. So you got that element to it as well. So it's just a phenomenal sport, and I'm obsessed with it.
It's a phenomenal sport, it's a phenomenal community. And actually, while we're on the subject of the Australian Beast, I'll tell you what, you guys in Australia are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And when I was on that course, I was trying to not demolish myself. I actually ran the Beast and I broke the rules, because you're supposed to have a liter of water. I had an 8-ounce fuel belt. And on the very first obstacle, I dumped all my electrolytes, because it was this cargo net, it was really tight. So I had ran the race with nothing, no calories, no water. And so I was trying to maintain, I wasn't trying to redline myself. And I'll tell you what, every time I slowed down even a little bit, there was someone there saying, "Come on, mate, you got it. Let's go, let's go." So I was totally impressed by just the culture and community that's being fostered over here. Not that it's that different than ours, but it's the people here are just so willing to put their energy into somebody else that they don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consistently, I'm telling you, every time I took a step that was 10% slower pace than I had been maintaining for any amount of time, somebody was there.
On your back and
somebody was there, and it was so cheerful. So love it. I wish I was running the stadium in a couple of weeks, but
that's all right. There's plenty of time. We're gonna fly that Spartan attitude and Spartan flag out there, and then give it all we've got. And when we're looking at Spartan in general and how it's progressed, we talked about that we're maybe 2-3 years behind here in the US. But with you guys being ahead, what's kind of some of the stuff that you think is going to be here in Australia? Whether it's mentality, whether it's athlete conditioning, or whether it's just obstacles or just general interest for the sport. What do you think we're in for the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, well, the next 2-3 years, I mean, the natural progression of anything, right? Any new sport, the bar is just going to keep rising, And with that, the courses are going to get harder. The athletes are going to get better. The courses are going to get harder. There's going to be more people at the races, more jam-packed elite heats. The burpees will get stricter. So right now, there's a couple folks, 28 burpees, 29 burpees.
29, yeah.
Like 29, especially because they count this as one and then go down.
Yeah, best piece of advice I learned today. Start on the ground with your burpees, not up in the air, or else it's 29 in the US.
Exactly. So expect to have the burpees counted or videotaped, and if you're in the top 10, you're going to have all those videos, all those burpees audited, right? That's something we've done. So every burpee that you don't do is a 30-second penalty, and I expect that to come down the hatch as the competition continues to rise and the stakes rise, and then again, as the athletes get better, more trained, more of them are in the sport, the obstacles have to get harder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the next step. So
that's what you said. The day that, or you and Joe and said the day that people start practicing obstacles is the day where we failed. Because you're not pushing them, you're not challenging them.
Yeah, exactly. And our mindset has shifted slightly since then. But the same kind of theory applies. Is that when we're training, we want to train for as much haywire, diverse situations as possible. I mean, just today doing the 30 burpees at the end of the third hour of exercise, right? 30 burpees, guess what? It took a minute and a half or a minute and 40 seconds when you could probably do burpees, not you, just the people, do burpees in 55 seconds, right? But it's what precedes that matters, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the big thing too. As the races keep evolving, I mean, they're just going to get more. They're going to shock you more and more.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, by the time you get to the obstacles that you're comfortable with, your body's in a completely different state than you've ever been in for this particular obstacle, and you start missing rope climbs. So
awesome. Love the burpees. And then so we're out here, we've been learning some absolute ton of knowledge today in terms of today and yesterday and what the Spartan Way is and what Spartan SGX is. But for some people, there might be a few people that don't know what it is. But what is it, and if you are interested, how do you get involved?
Yeah, so the SGX program, it's a 2-day workshop designed for trainers looking to become a Spartan SGX coach. The course is actually also open to other folks, whether it's phys ed teachers, medical professionals, just die-hard Spartans. There's a prerequisite that to become a certified coach and market yourself as a certified coach, you got to have some credentials and fitness. But if anyone wants to come to this workshop that just has a really profound passion and interest in Spartan, they can attend the workshop. But it's 2 days. It's designed to help people both understand where Spartan came from, what Joe DeSena's mindset really was when he created it, because we want people to know that. I think it's important. It's this race it's more than a race. It's more than water, fire, walls, barbed wire. It's a metaphorical experience. It's a metaphorical experience that's designed to spit you out the other side, just a little bit changed. Right, and it supplies a stimulus, right, and a shift in paradigm and belief, so that you can go chase those dreams. You can go start that business. You can go lose that weight, whatever. You don't know how many times I've seen people lose 10 pounds 10 times because they never have enough belief in themselves. They never have enough belief that it's possible. Then they jump a wall of fire, throw a spear, crawl into some barbed wire, climb an 8-foot wall, and they say, you know what, I can change my life.
Yeah, I can do
this.
anything. I can totally do that. Yeah.
And SGX is really about educating trainers to then educate people on that mission, but also provide an experience that is almost like crossing that finish line Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 o'clock in the morning, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. or whatever time it is, right? Because we know that Spartan Race is the ultimate human sport.
Absolutely.
A human that is just an incredible human evolutionary shape will rock a Spartan Race, no training, right? If you live off the land and hunt and gather your food, Spartan Race is, Tuesday, right? And so training people for that type of fitness, that mixed modal, very diverse and unexpected fitness, right, happens to prepare them for a Spartan Race. But SGX, people can leverage that type of training even if they're not going to run the race. That's the thing. And it gives them the ability to kind of align themselves with the Spartan brand and what it means. In a way that if mud isn't for them, hey, we got a couple other million people that it is for, but if you can use the brand to better yourself, to better your experience, to get healthy, get out of that comfort zone, and the brand helps you do that, have at it. And so SGX is kind of twofold.
Fantastic. So, a lot of people, you're big in the Spartan world, you're big in the coaches world, but what's something that maybe we don't know about you?
Something you don't know about me?
No, what's something that maybe nobody knows about? Like, what's some quirky stuff? Like, you like taking bed sheets.
I did steal a bed sheet
to use projector screens. But what's something that we don't know about you?
What is something? This is a surprise question. What's something you don't know about me?
Got to be ready.
You got to be ready.
SGX.
And it's funny because all these things are hitting my head. I'm like, God, don't say that. Don't say that. I guess something most people don't know about me is that. A bunch of years ago now, I actually fractured my skull.
Oh, really?
A basketball hoop just fell down and landed on top of me and basically crushed me.
After a big dunk, obviously.
Does it look like I can dunk? Basketball is not my sport. Fractured my skull, so actually this side of my head is actually not bone. It's actually
plate.
It's not metal though. It's some kind of fibrous plaster type.
Full on.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Was not expecting that. So you're kind of cyborg slash
slight
Spartan.
Little bit of RoboCop going on in there. So I haven't told too many people about that. So there's a few people that know. Now these people.
It's out there.
It's out there.
How good's that?
It's out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That just shows. You could be anything, and like I said, SGX, you got to be ready, and we'll throw these curveballs at you. That's the Spartan way, and. Just before we wrap up here, we're all about obviously conquering your obstacles and overcoming fears and getting out of that comfort zone. That's one of the things that I'm about. But, the main thing is you're with these Spartan pros, and it's not always about the pros, but it's what's the pros doing that anyone can do that we can learn from. So I'd say, what's the take homes that it doesn't matter whether you're a pro, it doesn't even matter if you're racing. It just could be you're having trouble getting out of bed, you're having trouble going to work, or just life isn't going. What's something that we can take away from the pros that either somebody could put into a race, someone could put into their business, or someone could do something that you think would take them to the next level, or at least get them to the next level? Yeah, and
it kind of dovetails from the other conversation just about work ethic. I think that the big difference between someone that ends up competing on the highest level and somebody that struggles to get out of bed it's what do you do when you don't feel like doing something? What do you do when you don't have time? Everyone's got the same amount of time, man. Everyone's got jobs, everyone's got kids, everyone's got priorities, everyone's got responsibilities. But some of us find time to train and some of us don't, right? Some of us go that extra mile. Mark Devine is a friend of the company, right? And he talks about just going the extra mile in everything you do. And I'd say that's what the pros are doing. It's not I don't have time. It's I have to do my workout at 4 a.m. tomorrow. When I feel like that's the type of thing that somebody would just say, I don't have time. I have to be at work at 7. I have to do this. I have to do that. But it's a different mindset. It's saying that you don't have time to train would be like like saying you don't have time to live, like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have, right?
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
it's that kind of thing. It's that commitment to excellence. It's that dedication to putting a true 100% into everything you do, because it's easy to say you're trying, right? That's a word that I tried to get rid of, just eliminate from my vocabulary. It's to the point that when I say it, somebody just said something here, and I said I'll try, and then I corrected myself, and I said I'm sorry, I won't.
Yeah.
Because me telling you, I'm just being polite. Like if I say I'm going to try to do that, try means I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Try means no.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that to you.
I'm just being polite.
I'm just being polite.
Yeah.
And so there's this kind of, I'll try to do. I think that word is a word that exists less in highly successful business people, athletes, passionate people of all kinds, than folks that tend to struggle.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the word, that's the problem.
Perfect. Oh, well, you heard it here first, guys, with Conquer Podcasts. Like I said, Joe Dye, if people want to follow your journey or learn more about you, where can they go?
Yeah, so Facebook, Joe DI on Spartan, so Joe space DI space. It's facebook.com/Coach Joe DI. That's probably the easiest way to find me. Instagram, you can find my Instagram from my Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't even know what my handle is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But,
Skull Crusher.
yeah, that's Spartan something. But definitely, and follow our SGX program. So Spartan Training on Facebook. We put a lot of really cool content there.
Yeah.
We've got 1,000 coaches in 30 countries that we're actually getting content from and sharing. So you're getting content in different languages. You're getting content with different perspectives and different experiences. So definitely check out Spartan Training on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then just head out to races.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll be at the World Championship.
Yeah.
That's the race that I'll definitively be at every year. I don't get to that many races anymore. I'm rarely in town because with coaching and training, we're always either 6 months before the race or a couple of months after the race, and so I'm at 5 or 6 races a year. I always get at least a trifecta.
Yeah.
But World Championship is a good place to find me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you need some more take-homes, you want to conquer those obstacles, be sure to check out Joe DI. Thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. It's
It was
been
awesome.
absolute nuggets all day long, and we're here to build that burpee immunity. ConquerAthletic.com for the Conquer podcast, and we're here to bring you more and push you outside of that comfort zone.
Aru.
Aru.
Good job.